Hi, I'm following along with Paul McWhorter's Raspberry Pi lessons. We're on number 31 and using that keypad matrix on the Raspberry Pi. Paul showed us basics of how to use it, and then our homework was to um, make it work to return just a single press and continue to check all the lines again and again and see which key is pressed and not have duplicates when you hold down a key. So seemed pretty straightforward. So let's get to the code. I'm VCNing into my Raspberry Pi again. So just go over here. And here's the code. This top part is basically what Paul showed us. Only thing it did is added this because we want to treat the key press so we don't get the repeat. So we're adding just a variable for last key. So we're doing that. And I'm using BCM instead of the board because I still have my breadboard set up, and these are pins I decided to use. And the keys are just about what Paul showed. Only thing I did is I added a fifth row with a empty string on it so that if I didn't have any key presses pressed, that we would get this empty string. So I'll show you that. Another thing is when you do your setup, Paul did 4 of these for each one in our list, but GPIO library lets you do a whole list with one go. So saved a little bit of code there. And then I decide rather than clutter my main code with this operation that we would do it as a function. So I call it the get key function, get K function. And so we're just starting off, and we're got a couple local variables here called R and C. And if you notice, that's a row and column. So it's row 4 and the 0 one. So we're starting off with our empty string. So if we don't get any key presses, since any key presses, it's just going to return that empty string when we return from our function. We're just doing in the function here, we're just doing a nested loop and looking for any key presses. We're setting it high, then low, and looking for any key presses that come back as inputs. And if it is, we're just updating the R and C with that number. And then we're returning whichever of these list elements and keys that R and C equates to. And that's all we're doing there. So we go down and we got a normal try and accept that we always do. And then we got the while true. And what we're doing is we're running off to that function each time and returning the whichever press key is. So we got that going on. And then we're just checking if the press key is not the empty string, which means no key was pressed, and that the press key is not equal to the last key. That keeps us from getting the repeating keys. Then we're going to just print out whatever the press key is. And then each time through this loop, we're updating the last key to whatever was pressed, whatever was returned here, whether it was the empty string or one of the keys. And we're just doing a little time sleep. Let's see if it's running. So we'll get it going here. Let's see if I can show this. And we got press 1, got 1, 4, 7, 8, 5. We can press the A key, B, C, D. Star and everything. So that's all working. So wasn't too hard, and I can hold a key down and it doesn't repeat. I'm holding the star key, holding the 9 key down. Nothing happened. We just get one thing on it. So it wasn't too hard. 36 lines of code. So that was working. So I'm probably jumping the gun. I'm sure Paul's probably going to do this in the next few lessons, but if we're using a keypad for input, we probably don't have a monitor and all this stuff. So you probably need to have an output for the key. So I thought, well, still actually had the LCD, that 16 by 2 LCD hooked up. So decided, well, let's see if we can get it to print out to the LCD. Let's go to that one. So like I said, I had got my big digit library that I use, that I have set up, but I'm not using the big digits this time. So we're just LCD, just importing LCD. And which column of the LCD we're putting the character in. We're starting off with column 0. So that's just added that one in there. Everything else is the same down to here, and then we're just initializing the LCD and then clearing it just in case there's something on it. And then that's the rest of it. And this is all exactly the same. So in our while true, we made a couple changes. Just in here, we're still doing the checking to see if it's an empty string or equal to the last key, because we still don't want to have bunch of repeat keys. But I decided you had to, if we got this LCD, you could have a different button to do that, to clear the LCD. But I figured, oh, well, we'll just use the D press to check if it's if that would be like a clear to screen thing. So that was like delete. So that's what I figured, D for, and then we're just clearing the screen and resetting the LCD back to 0, or LCD column back to 0. But if it's not a D, but it's a valid character, then we're going to write that character, the press key character, to row 0 on the LCD, but the column, whatever column, we're going to start off with 0. That's the first one. But then we're going to increment it each time so that we get a nice list of characters, like a password or not a password, but like a key code or something that you, whatever kind of code you want to put in there. And then the rest of it's just the same. So actually, I never got out of this other one, so I'm going to Control C out of the first program. All right, so now we're on the keypad 2, and I'm going to run this, but you guys see the code here. I don't know if I can have all my hands free to do this, but I'm going to probably bounce out of since we're not going to be looking at the serial monitor here, or the monitor here, we're going to go ahead and see if we can go full screen and get out of this. We're running the code, and let me see how I get out of here. Stop share. There we go. So now we're back in full business. So happy to say I finally figured out a way. I had this red cellophane. Let me bring this down a little bit. I had this red cellophane that we're able to put over top of our LCD, and it dims it down enough that it's easy to see. So I got it running, so I'm going to try hitting the 1. I can't show everything. My hands are full. So got the 1, 4, 5, 2, A, star, or hash, star, 0. And we can do A, B, and C. And still I can hold them down. I'm holding the 0 down, let it up, hold the 0 down. So now we got all those letters. Now I'm going to press the D key. That's the one that we got to clear it, delete everything. So press the D, and then we get to start all over. So you could use that like as an enter key or something like that. Maybe the letter keys, one of them could clear it and one of them could be enter. You'd have to give your you'd have to give instructions on which one works. But wasn't too hard, only a few extra lines of code, and we can do it like this. Clear it out. anyhow, that's my lesson or my homework for this week, and had fun with it, and everything was good. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and thank Paul for all he does, and look forward to the next lesson. And hope I didn't steal his thunder by using the LCD, but I figured that was the next step in the line, and didn't take that many more lines of code, and I already had it wired up on my breadboard. Thanks for watching. Bye.